the new IG was announced a couple of days ago in Nigeria. It looks like Showore finally was able to either break the former IG or was able to break the president. So the former IG retired and the president accepted his retirement, and another IG has been announced to Nigerians. Do you think it's going to positively impact the lives of Nigerian people, or do you think it's just going to be business as usual?
I don't think anything would essentially change. I think it's just going to remain the same because Adbetoku was granting an interview to a media outlet. Essentially was saying that he groomed his successors so that he's happy that one of the people he groomed will be stepping into his shoe. I do not really see anything changing. It's very typical of them to come and make a big announcement, withdraw personal, private security for big and mighties in the town. But after a while, they go back to factory setting. Nothing will change. I think this change is essentially for the forthcoming election. There is a news making rounds saying that this new IG, Jimmy Distu, was a CSO to Tinubu when Tinubu was a governor. In fact, he worked alongside Beto. Both of them worked for Tinubu simultaneously when Tinubu was a governor. So nothing is going to change. It's just a same old guard. I think the reason why they brought these guys to prosecute election, and I don't really see anything changing. Is the status quo will remain, nothing will change. Is Nigerian police.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Y&E podcast. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed, do not wait any longer. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, share, and engage with us in the comment section. So we're chatting about the new IG that was announced a couple of days ago in Nigeria. It looks like Showore finally was able to either break the former IG or was able to break the president. So the former IG retired and the president accepted his retirement, and another IG has been announced to Nigerians. Do you think it's going to positively impact the lives of Nigerian people, or do you think it's just going to be business as usual?
I don't think anything would essentially change. I think it's just going to remain the same because Adbetoku was granting an interview to a media outlet. Essentially was saying that he groomed his successors so that he's happy that one of the people he groomed will be stepping into his shoe. I do not really see anything changing. It's very typical of them to come and make a big announcement, withdraw personal, private security for big and mighties in the town. But after a while, they go back to factory setting. Nothing will change. I think this change is essentially for the forthcoming election. There is a news making rounds saying that this new IG, Jimmy Distu, was a CSO to Tinubu when Tinubu was a governor. In fact, he worked alongside Beto. Both of them worked for Tinubu simultaneously when Tinubu was a governor. So nothing is going to change. It's just a same old guard. I think the reason why they brought these guys to prosecute election, and I don't really see anything changing. Is the status quo will remain, nothing will change. Is Nigerian police? They are anti-change. They don't like to change. Nothing changes about them, and then it's just a whole lot of things. I'm not sure that Edbetokun voluntarily retired. I think he was asked to leave behind closed door. They always hinge it on family needs that they want to attend to some family issues. I wonder if he just realized that there are some pressing family issues that he needs to attend to. And the truth of the matter is that he is tired and then just applying the same thing, doing the same thing over and over and over. Since he's been there for a long time, he will be very, very resistant to change. They used to say you don't grow and become a left-handed person. You learn it from the beginning, and it's difficult to be grown and then start learning some new tricks and new tactics. And then I guess that was why he was forced out. I think they were not seeing results again, especially with the kidnappings, with the killings in the northern part of Nigeria. Maybe those things contributed to him being ousted. But on the whole, it's still a good day for him. He will live with a lot of money. He will live with security details. He will live with I mean, in fact, if care is not taken, he will probably be given an appointment for being a loyal.
Well, if what you said is true, that he was asked to resign, that will be something interesting to see with the new IG coming in. Just like you said, nothing is going to change. At the same time, you can't really blame the IGP for the insecurity challenges in Nigeria. It's been ongoing for a long time. And even though we know that Nigerian police are part of the problem, we've seen videos of them taking bribes, asking people for money on the road. And it's a bad sight to see. And it also doesn't really give the Nigerian police the authority that they need. That's why they're very well disrespected wherever they go, you know. So, yeah, nothing will essentially change. But I don't think it's fair to blame Egbetokun for the insecurities in Nigeria. I know the police has a part to play, they have a role to play. But if they don't have the tools, they don't have the necessary equipment they need to be able to defend all these communities, or if the federal government doesn't provide the necessary funding to hire enough police officers to be in different communities, different localities. So I don't think you should blame him for all the problems, but I'm sure, you can give him a little bit of the blame. You can take a little bit of blame. uh, Reports of people going to the police station to report a crime, and the police will tell them they don't have the gas for their vehicles to go investigate the crime, and they'll ask the complainant some money for fuel and things like that. All these things, all these funds should be appropriated, and if they're appropriated and they're not being spent wisely, that's a problem. That's something the new IG needs to look into and make sure that the Nigerian people have enough police officers to take care of their needs. Recently, I saw a video on X of police officers pushing their trucks. Was it because it was broke down or because they didn't have enough gas in the vehicle? So the way they've ran the police department in Nigeria, it's not how an agency should be ran. It's not appropriate, and hopefully this new IG will make sure that the police officers get paid timely, their salaries are increased, and the Nigerian people benefit from the resources of the country.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Egbetokun should be blamed for the insecurity in Nigeria, but I think IGP should be blamed for the poor policing in Nigeria. The Nigeria is poorly policed, though the blame is not entirely on him. It's also on the presidency, on the National Assembly. I don't think anything will change as far as policing is concerned in Nigeria until they decentralize it. Police nature we have in Nigeria is not effective. It's not efficient. They need to decentralize it. Each state, each local government should have their policing, so that there's only so much that an IG can do from Abuja. IG is not going to come monitor some people on the roadblock in Delta State or in Ondo State, or it has a limited reach. It can only send some people to it can only send people to go and monitor for him. But what if those people refuse to do their job that they are assigned to? So the way we police Nigeria is not the right way Nigeria should be policed. I think they should decentralize policing, and then each state, each local government, each community should put up their own policing form. And I think that's the only way Nigeria can be properly policed. And also, I think there is a whole lot of deal about the new IGP. I think the reason for that is because of the centralized policing. We have. If we have decentralized police nature in Nigeria, I don't think people will care about who is the IGP and who is not, because there will not even be a position of IGP. So, like we have in the US, you have a sheriff department, you have a city police like IMPD, you have a state police and state troopers and stuff like that. So each of them, they have their own police chiefs. So I think if Nigeria go back to that way, I think that is how it's going to be. So there will no longer be a position of IGP. And I also think that the best brain should be appointed in a position, somebody that is tried and tested. But also, I also know that because I think that DIG is next to IGP, and then AIG is next to DIG. Anybody that has attained the position of a DIG next to IG, I think should be worthy to step into the position of IGP, both in character, in operation, in everything. Because I've been hearing argument, I've been hearing people saying that, that the reason they went from DIG to AIG to choose the new IGP is because the AIG is more qualified than the DIGs. I get confused. Because if you have promote somebody to, from corporal when they enlisted, and you promote them to the position of DIG, it means that they are worthy in character in everything to step into the position of DIG or IGP. Why would you go a step down to pick the new IGP? I don't get it, because when you do that, you're wasting a whole lot of years of experience of those DIGs. In fact, even the AIGs, a lot of them will go home too, because they probably don't want to answer yes sir to their classmate or to their mate. So you are sending a whole lot of people home, a lot of careers that are not fulfilled, a lot of experience, a lot of money flushed down the drain to train those people to that position, and essentially you send them home. And this has been happening. This is not just, it did not start with Tinubu. If each president that comes in, they try to put in their kinsmen, their brothers, whoever that comes from their side, just to protect their interest. But I think it's a very, very bad system that we are running. It happens in the military too. It's a very bad and inefficient system that we are running.
I get what you're saying. And there's this saying that if they explain Nigeria to you and you understand, it means that the person didn't do a good job explaining it to you. And I've seen some comments online about how Frank Mba is supposed to be the next IG because he's been there for a long time and he has all the necessary qualities to be an IG. But they're saying that a tribal card was played in order to get the new IG into a position. And if the government is going to do anything, they can find so many reasons to justify their decisions. In fact, they don't even have to explain their justification to the Nigerian people. And they know we're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to complain. We're not going to do anything, basically. And even the police officers, they're not going to do anything because they're on the side of the government. That's why when people go out protesting, they send these police officers out to go disperse them either by tear gas or by using too much force in order to quench the request of the Nigerian people. So if the government wants to justify any decision they make, they find different explanations for it. And the explanation might not make sense, but they'll still put it out there and they'll believe like at least 50% of the people will buy it. And we know when 50% of the people buys it, those are the people that will go on the internet and start, speaking all sort of things that they know nothing about. So it's just the way the system is. And when we get good leadership back in Aso Rock, maybe all these things will change. Maybe we'll truly fix the root cause of the problem in Nigeria and start to, make Nigeria comfortable for people to live in.
Yeah, I completely get it. In fact, let me buttress your point. Frank Mba is a DIG, and he's not the only DIG. There are 7 of them. So if you are saying that Frank Mba is not qualified to be the IG, what about there are other 2 Yoruba guys, and maybe 2 or 3 Yoruba guys and 3 Hausa guys, and Frank Mba is the only Easterner? Why did you not choose from those people? Why do you have to send a whole lot of people home so that you can get to the next junior officer? In fact, the last time I saw that Jimmy Desu, I think it was in 2022 in Port Harcourt when they used him to play some political game against, I think he came to arrest Odile's wife. When Wike swung into action, Wike prevented them from arresting Odile's wife. I think that was when I saw it. And when I saw him that time, he was a CP, he was a commissioner of police. But according to what is flying around and what is on the internet, they are saying that the only rank that is guaranteed in the Nigerian police is a CP. Once you get past CP, everything else becomes political. So it becomes, political appointment or based on how you relate to politicians and stuff like that. So it essentially based on reward system. So we leave it like that. But my own is I want them to appoint people, put people that are competent, and we should stop playing the tribal ethnic card. And essentially I want them to decentralize Nigerian policing. States should have their state police. There should be a federal police, which is probably going to be EFCC, ICPC, or whatever. and then there should be local government police, and then there should be community policing. That is essentially the only way Nigeria will be policed properly. So let us know what you think about the new IGP, and we'll be happy to engage with you in the comment section.